Also, I just want to say, developers, don't take my criticisms, like, offensively. I just want to help make the game better, and I would really like it if you guys would just listen to what I have to say about these weapons. So, please don't take any offense to this. I do love Crossout, which is why I play it. But some of the weapons in here are just absolutely cheap. So, please bear with me. I'm giving my honest opinions about the weapons in this game. So anyways, let's move on. Okay, so I just want to explain this really quick. You're going to be seeing a part after this where my weapons aren't functioning properly. Basically what happened is I couldn't show the part where my weapons actually got hit because I was listening to a copyrighted song and I didn't want a copyright strike on my video. So basically I'm just going to explain this really quick. The back of my truck got hit somehow, I don't know how, with an explosive, and the back of my car exploded, and my my homing missile launcher and my gun on the top of my car, which was nowhere near the spot where my other weapons were, it somehow got disabled, and I don't know how. I was trying to find some reason as to why my weapons weren't functioning, and this has happened to me before. I think it's a glitch or something, and I really hope that this gets fixed. I'm thinking that it might be something like if your generator gets destroyed, it can't, properly function more weapons than what power your vehicle already has, so it shuts off the two weakest weapons. But I think that that's very crippling, and I think that this needs to be fixed, honestly. I don't know if that's the case, but this has happened to me. I don't know if it's a glitch, I don't know if it's a bug, but I really hope that you guys can look into this, or tell me down below if, like, I'm missing something, or if it's exactly what I said. Anyways, this video is getting very long, and I really hope to, yeah, anyways, here's the clip. This is a glitch that's happening way too often. I can't use my weapons because they shot off my thing. My weapons are still on my vehicle, yet I can't shoot with them. This is a bug that needs to be fixed. Also, just another note to the developers, before I go on. The thing is that the problem that I have with this game is that sometimes I'll go on a winning streak for one day, and then the next couple of days it'll just be a mass losing streak. And there are times when the teams, we just get like a flawless loss every time. 90% of my battles that I go into are a flawless loss. And it's terrible to just get loss after loss after loss after loss after loss after loss after loss. And it's so frustrating. Especially when the other team does not lose one teammate except for the AI, which is dumb as bricks in this game. The AI is just, I'm gonna put it bluntly, it's just absolutely retarded. But aside from losing AI, 90% of the battles that I do in this game are one-sided. Basically, the enemy team just destroy us, and like, we do damage to the enemies, but we can never kill them before they kill us, which I think is unfair. And I do have a clip here. I don't know if I'm going to put it in, but it'll be maybe at the end of this. But the balancing in here is pretty bad. I have had times where there was one time I had seen that there was a person with a power score of less than 2,000, so 1,900 and below, and he was being matched with people who have a power score of 9,000 and over. What? Do you realize how unfair that is? That guy will get his ass handed to him. Also, something else I forgot to mention is that people are using legendary weapons in very low rank battles. So you'll have a person with a power score of 2,000 with a harvester. That's broken. That is just straight up unfair. That needs to be fixed. I have heard that they're coming out with an update to the Mandrake, which makes it more accurate, which it desperately needs. But other than that, though, it's just really terrible that the balancing is that bad, and the other thing that I said earlier, like the flawless wins and the flawless losses. 90% of the time in this game, it's like 90% of the matches that I go into are one-sided. Like, we can't win at all, no matter what we do. So I think something needs to be done about this, because I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if my team's that bad, or if the other team are using cheats or something, because there is no freaking way in hell that many battles can be one-sided. I'm not calling them cheaters, I'm not calling them hackers, but it just seems to me that something is going on here and I don't like it. Also, the balancing in here is really, really bullcrap. Because when I put my car in, I could be a car that's like 1,000, and they'll throw me into a match with people that have a power score of like 3,000. Why? This needs to be fixed. There is no reason that the balancing should be this bad. Anyways, if I can, I'll show you guys the clip that I took. If not, then you'll probably see it somewhere else. Anyways, back to the video. Really? The game system is still not balanced? You're putting somebody in here that is one power score of 1,200? Wow, and I thought the freaking balancing issue was fixed. Okay. The first weapon that I want to talk about is one of the most frustrating weapons I have ever come across in Crossout. Lancelot. This thing is just absolutely broken. How? How is it broken? The amount of damage this thing does is just absolutely stupid. In combination with the invisibility cloak, this weapon is just absolutely broken. Previously, this weapon used to be even more broken than it is right now. And you might say, well, its durability is very low, which it is. And it is a one-time use weapon. Meaning that once it's used, it's gone permanently until the next match. The problem that I have with this weapon is the damage output that it does. For every 3, and not just that, but if you guys don't know, epic, legendary, and relic weapons all have a perk to them, whereas rare and common weapons don't. So this weapon's perk is for every 300 meters the vehicle traverses, the weapon damage increases by 25% and stacks up to 3 times. So you're doing 75% more damage. You're basically almost doubling your damage. And if you run into somebody with these, yeah, it's an instant kill. You have to have multiple of these in order to get an instant kill, but it's still an instant kill. Oftentimes, you'll even have enough left over to one-shot another person if they don't see you approaching. Now, the major issue that I have with this weapon is they need to find some way to work around this weapon or just remove it altogether. Basically, if you're at the start of the match and you're trying to coordinate with your team or trying to find a good spot to attack the enemy from, if you do not get a certain amount of score within the round, or by the time you get destroyed by another person, you don't get any rewards at the end of battle. So a person comes in with a really fast car and an invisibility cloak, hits you with this and one-shots you. It's basically over. You might as well just quit the match. Because if they one-shot you and you didn't do enough damage, or you didn't do any damage at all, and they kill you with this weapon really quickly, you don't get any rewards at all. So basically, you just wasted your time going into that match, and you have to exit the match and then re-enter another match in order to get something. It's so stupid. I have had this happen to me several times, and anytime this has happened to me, I just quit the match. Anytime I see anybody approaching with this weapon, I just leave the match. Like, anytime they're coming for me, because I'm gonna be honest, I hate this weapon. It is broken. It's just absolutely frustrating to deal with. Especially when you don't get any rewards for the person one-shotting you. Like, right off the bat. So yeah, that's my opinion on the Lancelot. It needs a nerf. I don't care if this is an epic weapon or not. It is just stupid, the damage output that this thing does. The Incinerator. I have been debating whether or not this weapon should be nerfed. This weapon had actually gotten a really massive buff to its damage. And I gotta say, this weapon is just absolutely broken. The amount of damage that fire does in this game is just stupid. And with this weapon, it makes it all the more stupid. The explosion leaves a flammable liquid puddle dealing damage to all targets. What this doesn't actually tell you is the weapon, the flammable puddle itself heats up all of your parts on your vehicle. And if certain parts heat up too much, they explode. which can either cripple your vehicle, knock off all its parts, or kill you altogether. And the flammable puddle, if you don't believe me, fire actually increases the damage you take. It pretty much doubles the damage you take. If you look at the Aurora, this is basically what the weapon does. Heats up parts on hit. They receive up to 100% more damage depending on the amount of accumulated heat. That is basically the effect of the incinerator. Honestly, I think that this is broken amounts of damage. Doubling the damage you take, some parts on the vehicle, like generators and stuff like that, only have a certain amount of durability. And I feel as if this weapon is just way too overpowered. I don't know. Either you guys need to increase the amount of durability that generators have, or just get rid of the incinerator altogether. Or like, well, not get rid of the incinerator, but reduce the amount of heat damage that people take, because it's absolutely ridiculous. Your car can heat up extremely quickly from this too. But anyways, I'll leave that up to the developers. If you guys see this, then yeah. Next weapon is the Harvester. Oh boy, do I hate this weapon. This is the most broken weapon in the entire game. Hands down, this is the most frustrating weapon to actually deal with. And I hate this thing. 1. Look at its durability. It is through the freaking roof. This thing used to have over 1200 durability until they nerfed it. This thing still has about 600 durability, way too much. Not to mention, the damage of this thing is stupidly high. The base damage of this weapon is 40 upon contact with parts. Every second that this thing is attached to a part or against something, its damage increases. Its perk is right there. Damage increases by 40% for each second of contact, stacks up to 5 times. Guess what? 40% times 5. That's 200%. You're tripling the damage. So basically, you're going from 40 to 120 damage per second. There are very few parts that can withstand that much damage. And even then, some people put 2, 3, even 4 of these on their vehicle, which is downright frustrating. Because this thing does so much damage, it's absolutely ridiculous. And it has so much durability, you won't even be able to defend yourself from this. There is also another combination in here that you can use with this, which makes it extremely frustrating. And I say this all the time. Anybody who uses this combo has no skill in this game. The Harvester Spark 3 invisibility combo is broken. Broken. And I can't believe the developers still have this in the game. We'll go over the Spark 3 in a bit. But this weapon needs a massive nerf. Especially to that durability. That is just stupid how much durability this thing has. I believe its ability also needs a nerf. Damage increases by 40% per each second? Are you kidding me? This thing needs a nerf, and hard. Anytime I see somebody come at me with this, a Spark 3, and an invisibility, I just exit the game immediately. Because there is no way I can defend myself from it. They will kill me every time, guaranteed. It is just ridiculous. And I really hope that they nerf this weapon hard. Okay, guys, we're here with the most broken weapon. Spark 3. Actually, there's something else that I wanted to add on to this. Not only is this weapon really frustrating to deal with, but this can actually hook onto your car and constantly deal damage without letting you go. I have had this happen to me multiple times, and it is absolutely frustrating when that happens. You can't defend yourself. The opponent's literally driving into you. You can't get away, and with the Spark 3, it's just... yeah, this weapon needs a nerf. And developers, nerf this. Nerf this freaking hard. Alright, there's just one more part that I wanted to add on to this about the Harvester. As you can see here, the Harvester is resistant to blast damage and resistant to contact damage. With its durability that high, you might as well just take these out and give it 1400 durability or 1500 durability. Because when I went into my practice mode, I would go in and try doing damage to the Harvester. Yeah, that ain't happening. Basically, the Harvester is the most broken weapon in the entire game, and I believe that this weapon does need a massive nerf, because that's just completely unfair. It's resistant to blast damage and resistant to contact damage with 765 durability. That's basically doubling its durability. And seeing as how people put this... like, this is one of the most common weapons in the entire game. So, pretty much everyone and their grandmother has this. It's stupid. And what makes it even more stupid is when you combine this weapon with one of the most frustrating weapons in the entire game. It's called the Cap Can. This weapon is just brutal. In combination with the Harvester, it is just absolutely frustrating. So basically what this thing is, it's a harpoon mine. Basically, if a car gets anywhere near this, or an enemy gets anywhere near this, it will harpoon your enemy, holding them for 10 seconds. And if you have either a Spark 3 and a Harvester, don't even try, just exit the match. And the reason why I say this is because there's no fighting your way out of it. You can't really defend yourself against it. One of the most common things that I see is, I a cap can and the incinerator, which is absolutely frustrating in and of itself. But a harpoon mine in a game like this is just really frustrating, especially when you have a weapon as broken as the harvester. It's just really frustrating to deal with. You can shoot the mine and destroy it, but oftentimes you're too busy trying to defend yourself from the harvester. And normally for me, anytime I see anybody with a cap can and a freaking harvester coming towards me, I just exit the match completely. I just exit and I don't even bother playing the match anymore, because it just frustrates me to no end. Not to mention, one of the bigger frustrating parts about this is the harpoon mine will actually reel you in like a fishing line. And I have had times where it has actually flipped my car over. And when I try flipping myself back over, it just yanks me even further in, flipping my car right back over. It's so frustrating to deal with. And I think that this feature of the harpoon mine or the cap can needs to be removed. It is so stupid. But like I said, the harvester needs a massive nerf. With its abilities like this, there is no reason why the harvester should have more than, I would say, 150 to 200 HP. Because it has resistance to blast damage and resistance to contact damage, its durability needs to go down. That and its special ability needs to be nerfed hard. Because it's too easy to get up to triple the damage and destroy your opponent. Don't get me wrong, this thing is amazing in raids, but when you're facing somebody in PvP, it's a lot different and a lot more frustrating. So that's pretty much all I had to say on the matter. And yeah, let's just get on with the video. So, the Spark 3. This thing needs a massive nerf. And I mean a very massive nerf. Why? Its damage? This thing actually does damage. It has very low range, but its accuracy and time to overheating are maxed out. What I really don't like is this thing having 435 durability, and its ability is just absolutely brutal. It reduces a target's movement speed and weapon reload speed by 50%. So basically, it cuts your speed in half, and it makes your weapons reload or overheat twice as long. It takes twice as long to cool down and twice as long to reload your weapon. I think that this is absolutely stupid. This weapon should not have both of these abilities at once. This breaks this weapon. And in combination with the harvester, you have literally no chance of defending yourself or even getting away. This is why I said that only noobs or people who can't fight use this weapon. Because it's a noob's weapon. This weapon, not to mention, this thing does 23 damage to weapon parts. To weapon parts, to armor. That is just adding insult to injury. You cannot have your weapon do damage and reduce movement speed and reload speed. That is just broken beyond anything in this game. This weapon needs to be either taken out completely or reworked. because this is just absolutely frustrating to deal with. 100%, you guys need to do something about this weapon. Do I really need to say it? Do I? Because the one thing that I cannot stand in this game is shotguns. And shotguns are severely broken. Shotguns need a major nerf. Especially one shotgun that has stupid amounts of range. And if you want to know which shotgun that is, I can show you. This is the Thunderbolt. Don't let that range fool you. This thing hits a lot farther than you think. This thing needs a nerf. And bad. Even at a distance, this thing can still do a very large amount of damage to your vehicle. Anyway, that's all I have to say about shotguns. You know how broken they are, so nerf them. Now, I'm all for having powerful weapons in games. But when a weapon like this exists, yeah, you've gone too far. This thing's damage is through the freaking roof. Its range is stupidly good, and its accuracy is just... ouch. I've gotten hit by one of these before, and it put a hole clean through my car. This says it pierces up to 2 meters of any armor with slight damage reduction. Bull crap. This thing put a hole clean through my car. And it knocked out every armor piece that was in the way. And I had a lot of armor on that car. And it was all attached properly as well. This isn't a weapon that you see very often though. Mainly because of its price. And I gotta tell you guys, you would have to save a lot of money in order to get this thing. Look at the freaking prices of these things! 90,000, 80,000, almost 60,000. If you guys want to know how much that is in real money, you can buy 7,500 gold, or premium currency, which is right here, for $133. 7,500. That's 7,500. This is 90,000. So you're going to be spending about $1,500 just on this thing alone. Maybe a little bit less on this, but I know this is going to be over 1,200 bucks. Like, come on, developers. Really? Only the richest people in the game can afford this stuff. And it would take you a very, very, very long time to get this. And I do mean a very long time. I love the porcupine. It's a really freaking awesome weapon. But sadly, I'll never be able to get it. Anyway, that's my spiel about this. Something else that I wanted to mention about shotguns. Basically, shotguns are really broken, especially if you use something like Hammerfall and just put like a buttload of cooldown on it. If you put a whole bunch of cooldown on this weapon, you can basically fire it without it overheating. It's just absolutely ridiculous that you can rapid fire weapons without them overheating. And I think that this is really, really broken, especially for a shotgun. Before I forget, there is one other thing that I do want to mention, and I hope the developers do look into this. This frontal machine gun here is just very underpowered. As you can see, it doesn't cost that much to get. And I have 2 of these on my vehicle. I don't really notice a difference. I feel as if these weapons are really underpowered. The Tackler frontal machine gun, I feel as if this weapon could use a buff. Because I don't feel as if the damage is doing anything. It says it has 4 bars of damage. But I feel like my machine gun, my other machine gun, does more damage than this thing. Not to mention, this weapon is very inaccurate. I don't know why it is so inaccurate. But like, it is resistant to bullet damage, to blast damage, to contact damage. But I feel as if this Tackler does need a bit of a damage buff. I don't know. I don't feel as if this does enough damage. I really don't feel as if this does a whole lot for me. And like, 205 durability is okay, but I feel as if it could use a slight buff to durability, maybe up to 255. Mainly because it's... I don't know. I'm really hoping that you developers take a look at this weapon. Because to me, this weapon is underpowered. And it doesn't do a whole lot. But to you guys, it might seem like it's powerful. But to me, it doesn't. I only put it on my vehicle because it slots in well in different places, and it has 3 energy drain points. And this is a lot smaller than the other machine gun that I have. Where is it? Right here, the Equalizer. It's a lot smaller than the Equalizer. The Equalizer, I think, does more damage. And it's... yeah, it does do more damage because of its ability. And I feel as if the Tackler needs to do a bit more damage. I don't know, it's just me, but if you guys can look into this, I just feel that this weapon is underpowered. So yeah, that's just one of my little concerns with the Tackler here. Anyways, back to the vid. Okay. So, going into the battle modes here, there's something that I really want to discuss, and it's something that's really been bothering me. Why? Why do you have this in here when this gives very little to no rewards? Okay, Patrol versus AI. If you want to see how inferior this is to this, which is PvP, look at the rewards PvP gives you. It can give you one of these various rewards, no matter which one you do. It can give you a random reward, or it can give you a reward in the reward screen there, along with scrap metal. You get basically around 15 to 20 scrap metal per round, depending on how well you do. 12 is, I think, the lowest if you lose, and 20 is the highest if you win. It gives you a random amount depending on how well you do. This, however, no matter how well you do, you only get 5 scrap. Why? Why did you developers put this in here? This is a mode that is completely useless. Battling against AI vehicles. I like a game that has a balance between PvP and PvE. This is not the case. Why did you even put this in here? Why did you even think that people would play this with the minuscule amount of rewards that this gives? I very, very rarely ever see anybody play this mode. And not to mention, these modes here, PvP, I absolutely hate that you only get 1 life in this. What I would really like is a mode kind of like in like Black Ops or something like that, where you have a team objective and it's like you capture Zone A, capture Zone B, and then you have to defend your zones from enemies. And the enemies, they have to do the same. They have to capture the zones and prevent you from taking it. That, or like you get unlimited respawns and stuff like that. Or you can put in a mode where it is strictly PvP, and the match runs for about maybe like 10 minutes, and the team with the most kills wins scrap metal, or like the team with the highest score wins. A kill gets you a certain amount of score. You can, like, there would be objectives in the game. Like, doing certain objectives will get you a certain amount of score. Killing a player will get you 100 points. Maybe, like, I don't know, attacking a person's base or attacking their turrets at their base will get you, like, 1,000, like, not 1,000, but maybe, like, 200 points. Destroying them will get you, like, 200 points or something like that. Something to liven up the game. I hate having to go into these modes with just 1 life, because it feels so restrictive. I like games where you go in, you have unlimited lives, and you can help your teammates with whatever they need help with. It's something that I really wish that was in here. The only form of this is in raids. And as you can see from the earlier video of mine, or basically I'll edit it in right now, raids can be really frustrating. And your teammates can be absolute lazy pieces of crap. Like this video. Okay, seriously? Gee, Crossout, the game to play! Especially when your teammates are too freaking lazy to help you! Okay, as you guys saw there, I was extremely mad and extremely frustrated with my teammates and how absolutely frustrating raids can be when your teammates are too freaking lazy to revive themselves. So basically what happens is your teammates, most of the time your teammates will go in, get themselves killed, or just go in and get the score enough so that they get a prize at the freaking end, even if you lose. And you're stuck there doing the rest of the raid yourself. Now, the problem with this is I was alone in this. And we were only halfway done that raid, which means I would have had to fight those enemies that were coming after me. More enemies that were coming after me, along with 2 other packs of enemies. That if I didn't get the items to blow up the gate and bring the item over and challenge the boss right away, which is pretty much impossible to do with just 1 player in there, then I would have to face 2 additional waves of enemies. And yeah, there is no way I would win that. And it comes down to your teammates being absolute lazy pieces of crap. This is one of the reasons why I don't like this game. Is lazy freaking teammates that do not help you and that are too stupid to press a freaking button, revive themselves, and help their teammates. How brain dead do you have to be to not help your teammates? And the penalty for not completing a raid is very harsh. This octane, it's not easy to come by. Basically, how you get octane is stupid in and of itself. You get octane through PvP. And the only way you can get this is A, if you win the match, and B, you have to win the match without an opponent blowing off your without an enemy blowing off your fuel canister. And it's absolutely frustrating. In order to get 60 octane, you have to win 6 matches of this without losing your fuel tank. That's frustrating. But I'm going to go over some criticisms that I have about this game. That I have about a lot of the weapons in here. And yeah, so you're going to see some cut-ins and cutouts here and there. But honestly, I feel that this needs to be said, so let's get started. That being said, I would really like new modes in here. Instead of putting in new weapons and stuff like that, why don't you guys focus on putting in a new mode in the game? I would really like it to have unlimited respawns, have an objective that you can do in PvP, and like either defend a base or defend your base while the enemies attack. And if they succeed, they capture your base and you lose. Like that. That's a good idea. Like, you and your teammates have unlimited respawns. Each time you get killed, it's a 20-second spawn-in timer. Or like 10 seconds or 15 or something like that. And the match runs for like 10 minutes. And the enemies have to come in and capture your base. And what you're doing is you're defending your base from the enemies. And your base is equipped with turrets, it's equipped with machine gun turrets, and stuff like that. And they can knock out those defenses, they can knock out your team, they can come in and capture your base. If they capture your base, you lose, and if you capture their base, you win. Alright, so I just want to go into a little bit of detail as to what I mean by the PvP mode. And what I actually mean by this is, you have a base that you're trying to defend, and the enemies don't have a base. Instead, what's happening is the enemies are trying to capture your base, and you are trying to defend your base from the enemy players that are trying to capture your base. That's basically what I mean. And you have defenses around the area to help you defend your base. Basically, it's like that. There are also, like, why not also have public events in here where you can go into patrol, basically Bedlam, and you can, I don't know, have like a public event in there where you have to defeat all enemies, or you have to capture, I don't know, you have to capture an enemy or defeat a boss enemy, and anybody who is involved in the event gets rewards. Like, it can be one reward a day, it could be like, I don't know, 35, 40 copper, you'd be like, 10 electronics, like 100 wires, and maybe 150 scrap metal. It can be done once a day, and if you do it more than once a day, you get decreased rewards, like 25 scrap metal or something like that. I don't know. I would just really like to see more stuff in this game. And that's why I'm suggesting it to you developers, and, well, to any of the players out there who really want to support me in, like, new modes and stuff out there. I'd really like to hear what you guys have to say down below, so feel free to leave a comment, and, yeah, back to whatever else I was saying. How about that? Or maybe an objective like, or maybe something like Titan battles, you know, or Leviathan battles. Something that I would really like is to take this thing into battle. Why not have a mode in here where you can do Leviathans versus Leviathans? Make it so that you can go into a PvP match and everybody uses their Leviathan. Because the only purpose of this Leviathan is completely pointless. You only send it into PvP, or, well, Leviathan battles, So basically, you just send it into this invasion. Really, really disappointing. I would really like it if there was more to this. And I really hope that you developers will take my suggestions to heart. I am a player of this game, and your players of the game are your lifeblood of the game. If you don't have players that are satisfied, they're going to leave. And when players leave, your game suffers. At this point in time, I really can't suggest this game to other people because of how much frustration this game causes and how little there is of modes, anything in here. It's strictly PvP. PvP, one life, that's it. And in order to do the raids, you have to have Octane. And that's very restrictive if you ask me. I mean, sure, you have these events where you can race people, or you can do a battle royale, or you can go on, like, Bedlam and, you know, socialize with people or whatever. But the game is lacking in any kind of modes and stuff like that. If you guys can come up with more, hell, the suggestions that I have, guys, take that to heart. Think about it. Because I really put some thought into those. Like, I just really want to help this game grow. And if you want this game to grow, like, just take my suggestions. There's no harm in trying something, right? But anyways, that'll be it. So, I'll see you all in my next video.